Here, it's in studio with the bearded brain, the chick in charge. Are you leaving, Sheriff? Okay. Wow.
He's moving his
Are you
chair.
awake good or no? What's going on over here?
About 5:30 every morning.
Get in that microphone right there and talk to us.
You can see about a fist away from it.
Sheriff of Stone County, Missouri, Sheriff Doug Rader.
Good morning, Clay.
The man. He's not usually this slow and not lethargic. Is that the word I'm looking for?
I've been up since 5:30.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
problem. You need a nap.
Nap time.
It's 8:20 in the morning. You've been up for 3 hours and 20 minutes almost?
I know you music guys are still asleep at this time of day normally.
I didn't go to bed till about 2:45.
Whew.
yeah.
It was about 2:45 when I turned the TV off, and I'm like, God, I got to go to bed. I'm getting up at 6.
No, I've been up bright and early. I was in bed before 10.
Wow.
Well, see, that's the
I was
difference.
excited to come see you, Clay.
We don't-
Well, actually excited to come see Tina.
Well, I know. We don't even leave the theater till 12:30 in the morning, right? Something like that. 12:31,
Yeah.
something like that. So what you been up to? You been fishing? Have you been catching any crappie?
I haven't. My boat hadn't hit the water in 3 months.
Really?
No, been a little busy this summer.
A little,
Wow.
little busy.
I'd say.
Fighting crime in Stone County, right?
It's been a busy summer.
And you
so
sold some fireworks. You have the big firework display tent.
My wife does a great job with her fireworks.
And
tent.
well, and Chloe does she pretty much runs the
Chloe's the
place.
mom,
She
yes.
she runs the place. Did she make any money at her little lemonades, her little
I
Coca-Cola
think she
stand?
broke even, made a little money.
Right? So I'm guessing that you probably bought all the product, and then she sold it and made all the money.
Actually, no, she bought the products this
Oh, well,
time.
good
Really?
for her.
She's a little
Yeah.
entrepreneur.
Good for her.
That's awesome.
How old is she?
13 going on 26.
God,
Yes, she is.
she's sassy, ain't she?
Yes.
Golly.
I don't know where she gets that from her mom.
Yeah,
That's
right,
so
right,
cute.
yeah, yeah. I got you. So what's so you've been sheriff for how long? How many years?
I'm in my 12th year as sheriff of Stone County.
Okay, so run it down. You've been in law enforcement how long?
I've been in law enforcement a little over 34 years.
34 years in law enforcement. And where did you start your career?
I started up in Versailles, Missouri.
I've heard of that.
It's on the northwest tip of the Lake of the Ozarks in Morgan County.
Okay.
And
Was you local cop?
yeah, I was a local police officer there and had a great police chief. Shout out to Larry Marshall. He lives in Nixa right now, and he was my first police chief. And he gave me my first badge, and after he retired and moved down here, I gave him his last badge. He
Aw.
was reserve deputy for me,
Wow.
and then before he finally just retired. But it was kind of a cool deal because he started me and I finished with him. So
That is
That's awesome.
yeah, great man.
So you was up in there how long?
I was there for 3 years,
And then where?
and then I took a job with Northeast Missouri Narcotics Task Force in 1993, and went straight undercover.
Wow, that's
How long did
cool.
you do undercover?
About a year and a half.
What's that like? Is that fun?
It was the greatest life experience that you could ever have.
Because we have a friend, a Pat Veach, that worked for us for years. Her husband did undercover in Springfield for a long time, right? 3, 4, 5 years he was he did that work. I mean, that's a whole different line of
Yes.
law enforcement.
Yes, and nowadays, working undercover, you have surveillance teams watching you and everything. But back then, I was out there all on my own.
Yeah.
So I was out undercover for about a year and a half, and I went from being in uniform where people respected you and to looking, I looked really bad.
Well, yeah.
And I realized how people treated me by the way I looked. When you're going into restaurants and stores, people treated me differently. And that always gave me my life philosophy: is you treat everybody the same, because you don't know where they're from or who they are, and
What they're going through.
I've got a lot of good friends that are covered in tattoos and long hair, and just super good people. So,
Well, the old saying, you can't judge a book by its cover,
exactly.
is very true.
Yep, and I try to still that in all my deputies too. You treat everybody the same. You treat people with respect, and it was a great life lesson for me. And I would have been, when I went undercover, I was about 24 years old. So it was a really maturing, growing up
So
time of my life.
what type of undercover was it? Were you Was it narcotics involved? What type of?
Yes, I was just buying drugs.
Right.
Just working different areas, getting introduced by some confidential informants, and working different areas, going in some pretty shady bars, and just living
Just
out,
collecting information, right? And
collecting information and buying drugs.
that is so wild.
It was a great experience. I am so glad that I did it.
Yeah, I see. I always wanted to be a cop, but when I was young, I'm like,
It's not too late, Clay. Academy starts in January.
no, I've been through your active shooter tactical training before. By the way, I'm still a little ticked about that. I think you set me up just to get my butt whooped.
Really? You really think I would? Do
I
that
really
to you?
think you found joy in that.
You may be right.
I just remember after y'all got done stabbing me with rubber knives and shooting me with rubber bullets, and y'all took a little break, and I'm like, all right, see you later, I'm out. And you're like, we're not done. I said, I'm done. I had red whelps on me, all purple whelps, skin was broke. Was I not for a good 3, 4, 5 days, I couldn't walk. I mean, I was just like, good God, they just beat the snot out of me.
But it gave him some perspective about what y'all go through.
I know, it was good times, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No. I was very excited about that because, like I said, I always want to be a cop. I'm like, oh, man, Sheriff Rader invited me to come. What was it, an active?
It's force training.
Yeah, okay.
Live scenarios with sim guns.
Yeah. And Sheriff says, hey, you want to come be a bad guy? We're doing some training today. I'm like, heck yes. Tina's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to go play with cops and robbers with real cops. And I'm going to be the bad guy. I just remember Sheriff going, okay, here's the scenario. Now you're going to get in that van. And then we're going to have a couple and the officer didn't know the scenario. You'd give us the scenario, and then they would walk up to the van not knowing what we were going to do, just like you would in real life, right? So when they come up to the door and ask the driver for their license or something, you just slide that van door open and come at them with this rubber knife. I'm like, heck yes. This is awesome. So I get in there, and the cop walks up to the driver's side, and can you see the driver? And I just slam that thing. I come out, the other cops on this side, and I mean, they had me on the ground in about 3 seconds. Knee in the back, arms behind, twisted up like this, and I thought, oh boy, this is
what have I done?
This is gonna be a long day. I'd never had cuffs on in my life. That alone is uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, they're not made for comfort.
I mean, my hands are like my shoulder blades, and I'm up like this. I'm laying on the concrete. It's hot, and they got those things tied on my wrist. And then a couple of times, I got shot 4 or 5 times with these rubber bullets. It hurts.
I bet.
I mean, you think paintball hurts or airsoft?
Not supposed to be comfortable.
No, these are like high-powered, coming out of real guns, right?
That's good times.
Yeah. So
Do you
much.
have a lot of those, like, different seminars and stuff that they have to take you around?
We do a lot of it with our academy class with the Missouri Sheriff Association Training Academy in Reed Springs. We do a lot of those, training them while they're in the academy.
Oh, okay.
And then we try to instill that in our full-time guys too. So I've got guys that I've certified now to teach that because I can't do it all alone. So we're getting there.
Well, I'd noticed, when was that? Christmas time when we ran into some of the Branson Police Department at Walmart one day. And they had all said that they were
at some training.
They were doing some more training, like, so it consistently
They was probably doing active shooter training, which we do a lot. We just got done doing a week-long active shooter training with all our municipalities in Stone County, training together. So
and we do that. I mean, Officer Donovan did that with us. Remember, we all met at the Stone Castle, and he went through the whole scenarios of if an active shooter comes in, what to do, where to go, how to respond, and all that stuff.
Right. For the businesses.
For the businesses.
Yeah.
But you mean the active, like for the officers.
I'm just saying, like, there's so many things now that are coming up, just constant crime, and not just shooting, but whether it's drugs or it's being caused because they're on drugs or whatever. I feel like there's just so much that you all have to stay updated on now.
Right. We've got a pretty good training budget now, and we try to keep our guys trained up on everything.
What So after you left I'm just trying to get a timeline of your career. So once you left undercover and you was up in
Hannibal.
Hannibal.
Yep.
Where was your next move?
Well, see, I was I was still with Northeast Missouri Narcotics Task Force, but after I came out from undercover, then I was a narcotics investigator.
Okay.
And methamphetamine labs, if you remember, hit Missouri in 1994, 95, and it just exploded. And that seemed like all we did through the mid-90s was work labs. I've been in probably over 300 methamphetamine labs
Good grief.
during that time period.
Is that where they were making stuff like with that Sudafed, and they was using
Yes,
stuff
yeah,
from the?
making it with Sudafed and lithium batteries and anhydrous ammonia, and it was crazy time. But I was working narcotics as an investigator and then promoted to field supervisor, and then I took over my last 3 years. I was director of operations of the drug task force. But 11 years working narcotics was just absolute fun.
Yeah.
And then I was involved with several federal investigations with the DEA and ATF. Got to travel a lot over the United States with those when we were doing the federal investigations, and yeah, that's a neat deal too, to be involved in your bigger federal investigations.
Sure.
And testifying in the federal courts in St. Louis, and it was just a great time, a great learning experience, and something that I'll always cherish that time.
So when you
Yeah.
left there, where did you go?
That's when.
Is that when you made your move here?
Yeah, in 2004, my parents had retired, and I'm from Webster County originally. That's where I was born and raised, in a little town called Rader.
Oh.
So mom and dad still live there, but they
Wow.
retired, and I was just trying to get back closer to home, kind of to help with them. And so I applied for the police chief job in Branson West, and there was 20-some applicants, I think, for that job. And Ken Smith, who's still a very, very close dear friend, was the city manager and hired me in '04 as a police chief in Branson West, and I've been serving the citizens of Stone County for the last 20 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
And you've been sheriff for how long?
I'm in my 12th year.
12th year as sheriff.
Yes.
Good night. You must be pretty good at it.
Well, I got. It's not that
Go ahead, toot your own horn.
It's not that I'm good at it. I have some outstanding people work for me.
That's a fact.
Tim Gideon's my chief deputy, and Tim's been with Stone County Sheriff's Office for over 30 years.
Wow.
So I mean, he's seen it all, and so we've got some great captains. Most of them have been there for close to 20 years, and just a lot of experience in the Stone County Sheriff's Office. And I don't do it alone.
Well,
Those
yeah.
guys are phenomenal, and I always say put people smarter than you in positions, and it'll make things happen. And that's what I did.
That's why Tina's my boss. Hey, you've been quiet over there for about 12 minutes, and then you ding on that.
I'm just here to add where I can.
Golly. That was really kind of mean.
Sorry.
It's okay. So, today's climate, Sheriff, in the last 4 or 5 years, things have really changed, right?
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
crime-wise, and just the heat of the temperature of people and how easy they blow up and things unravel. So, I mean, you know what I mean? Have you seen a different types of crime, different levels of crime in the last 4 or 5 years? Has things
Well,
kind of
You
changed?
got to think. I've watched a lot of different things happen over the last 3 decades, and we went through the era with we went through the era of the Michael Brown and Ferguson, and defund the police, and that's all kind of went away. But we didn't have that problem down here. I mean, in Southwest Missouri, everybody supports their local law enforcement.
When that was all going on, people around here made it a point to
Yes.
support the police even more.
Yes, and so we don't see any of that. But one of the big crimes we see a lot, and especially with our older generations, is the scams where they call them up and scam them out of money, get them to send money,
Yeah.
or gift cards, and man, that's a huge deal.
And it's seems like the seniors are the most vulnerable, right?
Oh,
have you
yes.
seen? I mean,
yes.
like
I could tell you story after story. One Saturday morning, I was had to borrow something from an older friend of mine, and when I met with him, he's always happy-go-lucky and just super nice. And I could tell something was bothering him, and I asked him, I said, "What's going on?" And he starts telling me a story about his wife has been talking to somebody. She's taken all their life savings out of the bank.
she's already
can't-
drained it.
she won't talk to him about it. I immediately, and she sent a package to Chicago. So I immediately got on the phone with one of my captains. He's working with the Postal Service. I'm gathering more information. They had her so believing that she couldn't tell anybody what she was doing. She went and drained their life savings, put it in cash, put it in a box, and mailed it to Chicago.
Oh my gosh!
Just so happens we caught it up at O'Hare.
You tracked the package at the
Postal Service caught it at O'Hare in Chicago, and we got it back.
Oh my gosh!
That does not happen.
No, that does not happen.
I was walked in the bank one day, and the bank manager come and got me, and she said, "I need you to come in here in my office. I have a man in here." I get to talking with the man. He's already sent these people $12,000, and he's trying to withdraw another $150,000 to send them. And I said, "How are you communicating?" He said, "They're on my phone." I said, "What do you mean they're on their phone?" He said, "My phone. It's out in the car. They're waiting on me to come back." So I got his keys and went to his car.
Now let me ask you:
The phone's live.
Did he feel like something was off, but he was still doing it?
No, they're so convincing that.
Okay.
So
So these people are on his phone in his truck, sitting on the active call, waiting for him to come back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't want to talk to me after I finally told. They thought I was him at first.
So you picked up the phone and acted like you were him?
Yeah. Then I finally told them who I was, and they hung up.
What was the conversation?
I just said, "Hey," and they said, "Did you get it? Did you get the money?" And I said, "Well, there's a problem." And they said, "Well, what's the problem?" I said, "Well, because I'm the sheriff of Stone County, and I'm talking to you." And they hung up, of course. But
you just saved that guy $150,000.
He did. He was widowed, and none of his children lived close, and they were taking advantage of him. And he was so embarrassed he didn't want us to call his children. But I was able to use our system and track down who his children were, and they were in different states, and started getting a hold of them.
But they need to know that.
But that's a big thing. We don't ever, for anybody that's listening, if they're calling you wanting you to send money somewhere, do not send money. That is a scam. Contact your local law enforcement. It is a scam or gift cards. So that's a huge problem today.
Now, what kind of stuff are these people telling them? What kind of stories are they giving them?
The first story I told you, they had told her that they had a car come across the border with blood in it, and there was stuff in the car that identified her.
So she thought she was in trouble. They made her feel like she was guilty of something.
They made her feel like she was in trouble. And a lot of times they'll pose as they're the FBI or the DEA and try to do that. Well, the FBI or DEA is not going to call you and ask you for money. No federal agency is going to call and ask you for money.
Man, isn't that sad?
It was.
And think about how many times that happens on a daily basis across this country, and people are just throwing money at them because they've.
And we're in a big retirement area right here, and a lot of vulnerable people. And, And just please don't send anybody money. Contact your local bank. Contact your local law enforcement if that happens. People requesting money.
We had a friend that was being extorted over a phone call for like that a few years ago that we got involved with and said, "Hey, this is not right. Don't do that." He's like, "They want me to send them $1,500, or they're going to call the cops and this and that." I said, "Look, don't worry about it. I'm telling you, it's a scam." "Well, they said that they know where I work, and they mentioned your name, and they were going to call, and they know I work, blah, 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 this and this and that."
Which is everything you can pull off of social media.
Yes.
Yeah.
But some people will get pressured and panicked and feel like, even if they've not done anything wrong, they start thinking, "Oh my God, did I do that?" Or, you know what I mean?
Yep.
That is unbelievable. That I'm sure that happens so often.
Daily. Happens daily. And the banks are pretty good about watching for that stuff too. But, it happens. It really does.
So and that's probably why the banks ask questions like that. If somebody comes in to make a big withdrawal and they start asking, "Why do you need, what are you doing with this money? Why do you need this money?" It's not because they're just nosy. They're trying to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Wow, that is something else. Wow, that's unbelievable. So you've been sheriff
12 years.
12 years, and doing a great job over there, I might add. And you have a great reputation. Everybody around here loves you and the work that you do, and your officers. I know a lot of your officers, and that's awesome. How big Stone County? All
Population wise,
Yeah.
32,000.
okay, yeah, that's fairly good.
That's really good, and Stone County's spread out and cut in the middle by the lake, which makes it
A
hard to
wide
get-
area.
Makes it hard to get from one end of the county to the other end because of that. So,
Yeah.
but what was 2 years ago we passed 3 years ago we passed Prop P, the sales tax, and that has really helped us a lot financially. Where we've been able, when I took over as sheriff in 2013, the starting salary for a deputy was $12.75 an hour, around $26,000.
Goodness.
Right now, the starting salary for our deputies is $51,000. We've pretty much
Wait.
doubled it.
Doubled it.
Yes.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That deserves a bell.
Well, it does.
Absolutely.
And they
Wow.
deserve every bit of it,
Absolutely.
and even more.
Yeah.
I mean, think about what goes on out there.
Oh, I know.
Did I tell you my story about? Did I tell you about my story 2 weekends ago? I haven't talked to you about that, right? I got
No.
pulled over up here by Missouri Highway Patrol.
You seem to have that problem a lot, Clay. Maybe that's a clue.
The common denominator is Clay.
Yeah, it's Clay.
It is. So I'm coming down Highway 13.
tell you?
I'm lucky.
Right.
Well, you probably ought to slow down.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know what's wrong. I like to drive fast.
No, you don't. That's what's so funny.
Well, on the highway.
You drive like 5 miles an hour everywhere.
That is true. Everybody says I drive like a grandpa. In town, I drive like a grandpa. On the highway, I want to get to where I'm going because I don't like to drive. So when I'm on the road, I want to get from point A to point B. When I'm in town, I'm just, I'm chilling, right? I may roll through a couple of stop signs now and then.
Which is weird because, again, he's driving 5 miles an hour. So slow.
You heard about that, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
The stop sign thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
You called and told me about that.
that was a good one.
Oh,
But yeah,
boy.
but I mean, I support the law because they support me.
They do.
Thanks, Kevin. That was an appropriate ding right there.
I think all my dings are appropriate.
Yeah, well, you're a
What
little.
does the ding mean?
It
What does
means
the ding
in
mean?
agreement. That's
Oh,
right.
okay, all right.
We kind of call it our amen bell.
That's right, the amen bell.
I think so. Like if you said something smart aleck to me, you'd ding it.
Yeah.
Or
we try not to self ding.
we try not to self ding. That is correct because self dinging it makes you look cocky.
Yeah.
Like if I say something really clever or cool, I don't want to go. That's a. Do you hear what I
Yeah.
said there?
It's like self dinging is like laughing at your own jokes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you don't do that,
No.
right?
Sometimes you have to because sometimes you're just you're
I mean,
right.
if you're just that funny,
Like if I say Hank Jr. is awesome, that's a self ding right there. Right?
that's a self dinger.
Yeah.
I get it. Sheriff Rader.
So what have you got coming up now?
You know, I want to go back to Prop P because I'm so excited that the
Explain Prop P
so that was a law enforcement sales tax we passed 3 years ago.
in Stone County.
Yes, which
Okay.
provided us a lot more funding for the sheriff's office, and like I said, we doubled the deputies' pay in the last 12 years. We had when 2013 I had like 16 or 17 road deputies. We was up to 18 before Prop P, but after Prop P we went up to 24.
And that's because of the funding and the fund
Yes.
to be able to hire more.
Yes.
Okay.
Plus we put we only had school resource deputies in 2 of our 5 schools, and with Prop P we now have a school resource deputy in all 5 schools.
Which let me
Wow,
tell you,
that's great.
that's
That's a ding.
yes.
that's a big thing. Branson
Oh.
a few years ago only had a resource officer at the high school when our kids were in junior high and one in elementary. And I'm like, why in the world we only have a resource officer protecting the high schoolers, but we're not protecting the 2 elementaries or the junior high? Well, they didn't have the manpower, they didn't have the money. But that was one thing I'm like, what? And finally, Branson is staffed with all the schools, which is to me, that'd be top of the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want officers at our
It-
schools.
It took. I mean, I was trying to figure out how to do it for 6-7 years. I was trying to formulate a plan to get deputies in all the schools, but we just couldn't afford it. But with Prop P, we can, and we did. And now Crane, Hurley, and Galena all have a school resource deputy in their schools. So.
Well, those deputies do so much more than
Yes.
than people probably realize. I mean, a lot of kids end up reaching out to those people for
Yes.
to those policemen for a lot more than just.
Well, and that's what we love to be involved with our kids and the schools, and we still do DARE in all 5 schools
Yeah.
also. So
That's great.
that starts it out at 5th grade, and then having the deputy there in the school and have somebody they can reach out to if they need something. And I think that's huge. That's absolutely huge.
Well, I remember when Colton was in junior high. I don't remember the officer's name, but he'd been there a long time. They loved him, like he was their buddy. He'd go out and play ball with them and catch with them, and just, you know what I mean. Like
Yep.
they and like you say, a lot of those.
They gained a lot of trust,
Yes.
which really helped these kids. And some of them that were less fortunate were able to have a really good relationship with them, which they needed.
Oh,
Well, a lot of them don't have a father in the house, and that they look up to this officer, and they, like you say, just securing them is just a small part of their responsibility.
yeah.
My,
So
my broadcast partner for the away games for Forsyth Panther football, Steve Huggins, he's the school resource officer for Forsyth. And anytime I see him interact with the kids, it's on the respected level. They love him. They know it's great. So
Absolutely.
that was a big goal of mine when I became sheriff, and it took a lot longer than I'd hoped it had, but we got that accomplished. And then we just added this summer river patrol with the jet boat on the James River.
Well, that's
Oh, wow.
cool.
And that's been an outstanding, huge success.
Yeah.
I never dreamed it would be such a positive impact, but after COVID, everybody went to float in the rivers, and James River become very, very populated on weekends and holiday weekends.
And the more people you have, the more incidents.
We
Yeah.
started having a lot of incidents, and if we had a problem, you had to call the water patrol, and if the water patrol's out on the lake, they have to bring their boat back to the dock, secure it, go somewhere, get a boat to go on the river. So there was quite a long response time. So having that boat there, I'm gonna put some stats out. We haven't done all of our stats for the whole summer yet, but we've saved like 5 to 7 people this year.
Wow.
I mean, and we had, I'm going to give kudos. We had an incident it's been about 3 or 4 weeks ago, where a guy was drowning, and 2 of our local guys jumped in, pulled this guy out from under the water, and saved his life. And it was just an amazing thing. And I'm going to have a nice word for them coming up sometime in the end of August.
Wow.
Just great guys that saved this man's life. He wouldn't be here today if it hadn't been for them. And then we got there in our jet boat and was able to load the guy and take him to a waiting ambulance. So just a positive impact on the river this summer. And
That's awesome.
we're just very, very excited
A
about
lot of people float that river.
it. Yep.
That's
Yes, they do.
that's the thing about being in a leadership position is a lot of people may not even think about that. Oh, the boat on the river, or this and that. But it's all those little things that you see as a leader of that department, that we need this, we need that. What can we do to make this better? And all that stuff adds up. It's all those little things that people don't notice. They only notice something if something goes bad. Well, why didn't you? Well, you know what I mean. But those are big things.
Oh, it is. And believe me, being sheriff's not easy.
No, I know. Yeah,
And you can't please everybody all the time.
that's right.
No matter how hard you try. And I'm pretty vocal. I state what I mean, and I state what I say, and you pretty much know where you stand with me. And some people don't like the honesty like
Well,
that. So
you know what? That's tough, I guess.
But I didn't get where I'm at from not being honest with people.
Yeah.
So.
But it also sounds like you're a great listener, because you're hearing things that need to be improved,
Right.
and you're helping educate your staff, and you're providing more opportunities for kids,
Right.
like you were talking about and then like the river. You're doing all these different things to try to make things better for your community, which is huge.
Again,
well-
I don't do that alone. I've got
Again, yeah, exactly. And I was just
outstanding
thinking,
staff that helps jump in and
Yeah, but the people have entrusted you. You've been elected time and time again, and you put together the right crew. And at the end of the day, you're elected by the people to serve the people and protect the people of Stone County.
Yep.
And
I work
that's-
for the people. I'm their public servant.
That's
so.
that's the bottom line right there.
Yep.
And you've done a great job. So, I love you. I can't vote for you because I don't live in Stone County. Even though you shot me and stabbed me, did a drive-by, I still support
drive-by.
you.
Oh, golly.
One of our greatest accomplishments, we started back in 2014, was our Stone County Sheriff's Office Citizens Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And we just finished this year our 11th annual Citizens Academy. What a great deal that is. Not only does it connect us with our citizens and builds those relationships, from the alumni, they form the Stone County CIA, or Citizens in Action, and they're a citizen support group to the sheriff's office. And what a outstanding
that's cool.
That's
group
awesome.
of people they are. And, very, very involved with us in the sheriff's office, and that's our way of giving back to the citizens, and because most people don't even know what the difference between a sheriff's office and a police department is.
Yeah, true.
And just being able to educate our citizens on everything we do is huge. And I even go to the new sheriff's trainings now every 4 years and teach the new sheriffs how to set up a citizens academy.
That's awesome.
Well, you must know what you're doing.
We've done it a couple times, maybe 11.
That's great.
Well, I appreciate you coming in, Sheriff, and you've done a great job. And elections coming up Tuesday, and the citizens have proved time and time again that they're happy with your leadership, and I'm sure that will continue. So, good luck to you on election day, buddy.
Thank you for having me today.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
My buddy